Okay, friends, my name is Liz Patton, and I am super honored and excited to have the opportunity to interview Darin Olien, who many of you know is the co-creator of Shakeology. What you might not know about him is that he actually has the unique title of Superfood Hunter. He was actually in the jungle looking for superfoods to concoct his very own shake when Beachbody kind of pulled him out of the jungle, and now he gets to make this amazing shake for all of us. And so, Darin, just so you kind of know who your audience is tonight, we have a lot of new people perhaps to Shakeology and Beachbody. Some moms with little ones who might be listening and interested to know more about it and its health benefits. And I just personally really want to just thank you and tell you how grateful I am. I've been drinking Shakeology for the last 7 years, and it's helped me and my health and my eczema tremendously. And so I just wanted you to know how personally grateful I am. But one of the questions that we get a lot is why Shakeology and not a shake that I might be able to get at Walmart or GNC or order off of Amazon? Why Shakeology? What would you say to that?
That's a very, very good question, and one that consumers will barely be able to figure out on their own because of so many different reasons. I mean, you mentioned things like GNC and Walmart, and let's just say that you know, every time we kind of take our hard-earned money and purchase anything, we're saying yes to a company, we're saying yes to that product. And I think like all of us, we assume that that product is what it's supposed to be, that it has what we're expecting to have in it, and that there's kind of twofold to that of why I even got into this stuff. Like I come from Minnesota. I had a father who was an agricultural professor who taught ag business at the University of Minnesota. My family's farmers and ranchers and all of so that's my DNA. And so when I started getting frustrated by knowing a little bit about the nutrition and food world out of college, I came to see that there was not a lot of integrity. And so when I started formulating, I ethically, for me, I needed to meet the farmers. I needed to meet the collectors. I needed to meet the processors. That's why this superfood hunting thing even started. I mean, that term was given to me by an article in 2011 by Oprah Magazine and Business Week, and it's just kind of a thing that, yes, this is what I do, but it was never meant to be the thing of what I did. I just did it out of the necessity of quality, the necessity of dealing with people fairly, and dealing with oftentimes third world situations. So coming back to your question, the more I traveled, the more I saw the source of many of these ingredients that you see in the marketplace, the more I saw the brokers who would just kind of take anything as long as it had the botanical name on the white paper, as long as it had bare minimum testing, they would take it. The more superfoods and herbs and botanicals and the buzzwords started getting out there, the more people flooded the market. And oftentimes in these third world situations, they're just dumping product. And you know, at Beachbody, we've failed more processing facilities than we've passed. So then we have to step in and upgrade and facilitate them being a high quality standard. So I don't have a direct answer for you because it's a ingredient by ingredient, it's a supplement by supplement. But let me just say that over the years of doing it, I clearly see from my vantage point that there's very, very few companies, there's very few ingredients that have the standard and the quality control that, you know, from our perspective, Beachbody's, it's our people that are going around the world, you know, sometimes following my tracks and testing these things.
Mm-hmm.
For the weird thing is, you think that everyone would do that, but it's not the case. So I would not gamble unless you literally hear it from a formulator or the company directly. Like, this is a very rare. I'm grateful to be able to speak directly to customers, because oftentimes I've been, you know, in the jungles on bumpy roads doing it behind the scenes because that's what you're supposed to do, what I thought you were supposed to do. So the bottom line is, I just wouldn't, I don't gamble with my health. I just don't do it. And we've set so many high standards and quality assurance standards in place that assure us of a higher and highest quality standards of our ingredients. And we have 60 plus ingredients. So you can imagine we have huge teams of our operations. We have huge teams in our quality assurance standards, and also have huge teams and members in our research and development. And we're putting millions of dollars into those things that are not sexy. They're the things you're supposed to do, but you can easily have a business without any of that. Have very bare minimum. And believe me, the companies you offered and suggested are doing the very bare minimum. Most companies are doing it. There's a few reasons why they're doing that. It's usually naivete. They've never been there to where there was, you know, the camu berry coming off, you know, a tree that's flooded by the Amazon, and it's a careful process to make sure vitamin C's there. It's very, very rare that you'll have someone like me who's been out there, and then it's very rare on top of it to have a company that has teams of people on their hands and knees in those facilities, making sure that it's processed correctly. So I could go on and on and on about that, but that's the reality. And again, there's very few people that have seen it and have been there, and I've spent 15 years doing that. So I'm just grateful that Beachbody backs that up. And that was a deal that Isabel and I, really Isabel made with Carl first before she even, you know, found me. And that was not compromising, and always improving. And we've improved the formula exponentially since even day one. We've made it safer. We've made it more effective. We've made it tastier. We've made it more efficient. We've made it, the alchemy of it, the blend that's better, that accentuates all of the parts of it. I mean, it's just a fantastic formula. And that's my short but long answer to it.
Well, I think for a lot of us, I mean, we're so grateful for your integrity. And, you know, as I'm pouring it into my glass, I mean, I just think about you being on your hands and knees with the camu berries. Like, that's powerful. That's really powerful. So let me ask you this. We have, sometimes people will say, you know, they've stockpiled their Shakeology, or, you know, they have 2 bags of it because they don't drink it every day. So what would you say the health benefits of having Shakeology every single day versus, you know, every once in a while, or when I think I need a little energy or something like that?
Well, this is a week-long lecture that I could give on the reasons of why this shake was even created. And let me give you the few-minute version of that. Number one, we are in a modern day stressful and toxic world. And if you don't understand that or believe that and need to do some research, look into it, because it's all around us. We have 60 to 90 new chemicals being emitted in our atmosphere. 90% of them are untested. So we're affecting our air quality. We have untested chemicals and now pharmaceutical drugs that have infiltrated our waterways. We have electromagnetic fields that we've never had before, Wi-Fi's and cell phones and all of these other things. The bottom line is we've created fatal conveniences within our modern day world, increasing our stress demands. When your body is stressed, guess what? It requires more micronutrients. It doesn't require necessarily more carbs, although that's a part of it. It's a micronutrient conversation. And the micronutrients that are in some of the greatest botanicals in the world that are in that bag is what it's really about, what the conversation is really about. These botanicals have been used epidemiologically for some of which 10 to 20,000 years. Like you've got Schizandra. Do a little homework. Look up Schizandra berry, one of the greatest adaptogenic herbs on the planet. And then you have things like chaga, you have cordyceps, you have ashwagandha, you have astragalus. Look up one and spend 5 minutes looking at one of the adaptogens, for example, that's in the formula. Those are there to combat that level of stress. Mm-hmm. So again, that's a whole rabbit hole, but there's a reason we put the formula together. There's a reason why we chose what we chose. And because of those reasons, of the body's under stress and under nutrient, the lack of nutrients and the overconsumption of food that has too many calories and lack of nutrients. So then there's that other side of it is over monocropping, overproduction of food calories and micronutrient starvation. So therein lies regular food is not sufficient anymore. But here's the thing. I eat organic everything. I support my farmers. I eat my raw salads. I perform at a high level. I train hard, all of that stuff. And still, I will drink Shakeology every day because of all of those adaptogenic herbs, because of all the prebiotics and probiotics. It's like saying, stockpile your apple and put it over there, and then don't kind of eat an apple every day, which is why an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, the reason that statement is actually true is not to mention an apple has 300 active compounds in it. It's very beneficial for the body. But that now expand that principle into, okay, now the world of botanicals, we have gathered some of the greatest so that your body can help deal with everyday stress, everyday invisible stress. So we've provided this thing that I get it. You guys see this pretty little bag that shows up on your doorstep, and it's in a powdered form, and that powdered form has gone through so many steps to make sure that those active compounds are there and make sure that toxins are not there, so that every day when consuming it, just like everyday eating, gives you sustenance and fulfills your body on a deep level, on a cellular level. So that's not marketing. Carl markets. I just tell why I created it, why Isabel and I got together. That's why we did it. We still, if everyone went away and didn't drink Shakeology, I would still be drinking because it's bloody convenient for me because I was doing it way before I created Shakeology, way before Isabel and I got together. We were both doing it. So it's there, and this is the reality of what we're living in.
Yeah, I love your passion. I saw on stage you and Isabel, she was kind of reenacting like a cell that's stressed and tired, and then you drink Shakeology and you're like, and I mean, so yeah, I appreciate you telling that. And I truly believe that if all the marketing went away, there is a large number of us that would still just need this every day. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Sure. Another question we get is some of us drink it as a meal. I drink it as a meal. Some people prefer it as a snack. So in your opinion, how should we prepare it differently if we're having it as a meal versus just a quick snack?
Well, I mean, that's a personal preference. Number one answer to that is get it in however it feels good to you, because the bottom line is, I learned from this doctor, this naturopathic doctor a long time ago, don't worry about it, just get it in your body, however it works for you. The things that I do, I like to use it after, like, every so often, if I'm in a situation I can't find food, I'll use it as a meal, and then I'll boost the hell out of it, right? So I'll put the greens boost, I'll put the digestive, I'll just load it up. And then maybe fruit if I have it, and all of that stuff, and I'll make it more, I'll maybe lower the water, and maybe I'll double scoop it. I'll just make it kind of more eventful if I'm replacing a meal. But at the same time, as kind of a midday or a snack, I might keep it lighter. Like for me, I'll keep it lighter in terms of adding a bunch of other stuff, just because I want to keep my mind cruising and I don't want to be bogged down in the middle of the day. So I'll just keep it lighter, give me enough energy, and then not have my body have to, work so hard if I've not loaded up full of stuff. So that's what I would do. And again, you can keep it really simple, or you can, add whatever you want to it. But, and that's really, a personal preference.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have some clients who have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity, and they can drink it fine, but I also know that there are some people who can't. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is another great question. That's huge. So let me just start by saying that the increase of food sensitivities and food allergies at an all-time high, we've never seen it like this before. So it gets thrown into categories of celiac and Crohn's and IBS and bloating and all of these things. I believe, in my research and talking with many functional medicine doctors, is it's so many different layers of food and exposure. So you have stress that causes all kinds of inflammatory responses from a digestive perspective. And if you're in a low-grade stress over a long period of time, you're pretty much guaranteed to have digestive stress. Then any type of medication, over the counter, even under the counter, any type of drugs of any kind can throw off digestive. So you just need to be aware of that. Antibiotics, any exposure at any point in your life, even if you're not even consuming them now, can throw off the dysbiosis in your microbiome. So getting, which is why we put prebiotics and probiotics in Shakeology, but sometimes you need to boost even more to get a balance because you're coming from an imbalance. And then foods themselves that have not been prepared correctly. I'm not necessarily, I have an evil against gluten. I have an evil against how foods are prepared. Mm-hmm. Lack of fermentation doesn't allow for grains to change and make bioavailable. So any point of any sort of fast food or cheap food or all of that stuff can throw off your digestion. And absolutely, pesticides and herbicides, and the active pesticide of glyphosate has been showing more and more evidence that it's causing all kinds of digestive problems. And it's unfortunately, it's getting exposed to us in many ways, even outside of food. So definitely try to stay away from conventional food because of that. And that is causing all kinds of problems. So my point to that is it's such a massive issue that it has more to do with what's going on with the person, and maybe over the last 5 or 10 years of where the inflammatory response in the digestive system has started to happen. So what's going to happen in that, if you're not calming down the digestive system, then it's going to manifest in one of these autoimmune or celiac or Crohn's or IBS or bloating. So the number one thing is get some tests, preferably by a functional medicine doctor who can understand nutritional deficiencies and toxic strains, things like that, so that you calm down the digestive system. The reason why I say that as a preface before I can even remotely answer the Shakeology thing is because the growing list of things you will react to will just grow individually based on what's going on with you. And that your food sensitivities could be to great food, but your body's ability to digest and break down and the enzymatic function is just in the toilet. So my hope is that you calm that down so your body then can receive nutrients of all kinds, not just Shakeology, but food that's technically good for you, but your body can't break it down. So it's a massive topic. And I would say that the gluten thing, why we are not certified is because there's kind of a couple reasons. Number one is the oat protein, from a legal perspective, just because of any opportunity that oat could be exposed to a gluten if it's processed in a factory, even if the factory has got another process in another building. It's just a legal perspective that some sort of molecule of gluten could get in the oat, because technically Shakeology does not have gluten in it.
Right.
But as of now, because of supply constraints, we cannot create an ideal situation to eliminate and put on the moon to process our oat. From a legal perspective, we have to say it's not gluten-free as of now. So again, sometimes people are reacting to things and it's not even gluten, it's completely something else. And my hope is just from a health perspective that people start getting that balance back in their digestive system. So.
Okay, thank you. I've read your book, and so I feel like I know a little tiny bit about you, in that I'm pretty certain that you would drink all of the stuff in Shakeology, even if it tasted like wheatgrass, like if it didn't even taste like chocolate deliciousness. Like, to me, it's like dessert, but I have a feeling you would drink it even if it, whatever, just to get it in you, right? But so some people have asked us, and like, I'm super excited about Shakeology because we don't have artificial sweeteners. We use stevia to naturally sweeten it. But some people have said, well, why even stevia? Why do we even need to have, why can't we just sweeten it ourselves? So what would you say? Are we trying to just please the person who's used to having Cocoa Puffs for breakfast?
Well, yeah, I mean, the mass amount of people that would not go to the extra effort to try to sweeten it is such a small percentage. It's you and maybe you and me, and maybe the person that asked that question. There's a few people that would do that. Listen, I like sweet too, but you're right. I would consume it straight away. Now, there's nothing from a scientific and a physiological perspective wrong with Lohan Gao. Actually, Lohan Gao has been used in traditional Chinese medicine for 10,000 years, and also stevia. So from a sweet perspective, you can always dilute it. You can always stretch it. You can always, if you really want, you can boost the hell out of it, pour a bunch of greens in there, stretch it out, put a bunch of ice in there. We'll stretch out the sweetness for sure. I still like this morning, I'll tell you exactly what I put. I put 2 super ripe bananas, a bunch of mangoes, 5 ounces of blueberries, and a scoop and a half of vanilla vegan. That's what and really thick, so not a lot of water. Like, I love that. And for me, I consumed it right after a workout. My body's starving for glucose anyway. So that's a perfect time for me to do it. I'm also not afraid of sugar. I think our society is a little crazy right now, because number one, we cannot live a life without sweet, right?
Yay!
We can't we cannot do it. It is I mean, think of the pleasure that we get out of it, because our brains require glucose, our muscles require glucose. We absolute's the number one fuel, but choose those glucose, choose that sugar wisely.
Mm-hmm.
So when I consume tons of fruit in my Shakeology, I don't give a crap how much sugar's in it. I don't even worry about it. I don't think about it. I love it. Sometimes I put 5 dates into it too. So, you know, from the micronutrients of fruit and Shakeology, it's like it's a bath to your cells.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone's more sensitive than others. If you're running a risk of diabetes, there's also many other things that aren't even connected to sugar that's causing diabetes too. So there's all kinds of things. It's certainly not a fruit sugar sweet issue. It's more of an isolated consumption of horribly processed grains and sugars like that. And that's what you have to be wary of. So anyway, that was a longer answer than your question, but
no, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It says on the bag we should consume it within 30 minutes. Is that because the chia seeds just make it thick and it's not as like, I mean, is there any reason why that 30 minutes is on there? What is that?
Yeah, I mean that's really think of it this way. We've worked really hard to make sure nutrients are there. As soon as you add water, now you've just activated a biochemical process, right? So things are going to start breaking down. You've exposed it to oxygen, you've exposed it to water. If you're letting things sit around for now that different if you're consuming it cold. You might, like I'll work out for an hour and a half and that bloody thing's in a thermos and cold. So I don't really worry about it. When I'm drinking it after that workout, it's been sitting there for an hour and a half. I'm cool. Like I don't think about it. But if it's not ice and all of that stuff, then we just recommend, listen, we've, selfishly worked my ass off to make sure those ingredients are there for you. The last thing I would want you to do is beat it up and just let it sit around. So the idea is just work to like you made it, work to get it in your body and receive the benefit of it.
Okay, good. I value your time, so I just have one last question.
Sure.
Is it necessary to take a multivitamin if you're drinking Shakeology daily?
That is an impossible answer, because the only reason I say that is because we're all individuals and you never know what someone's not getting something and what they may be getting too much of. So, recommended daily allowances of vitamins and minerals. The thing that we're proud of is our research and development team are always looking at what the latest research is and adjusting the values of the micronutrients. That is just purely on a massive scale, but we're all requiring micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and whatnot individually. So again, that is an individual thing. But again, I think opening up the world of getting some tests done, getting some blood tests, getting some other types of functional food testing and vitamin and mineral testing, that's just a good save up the next month and spend a few $100s getting a peek into what's going on in your body. And hey, you might find out, hey, I need more vitamin D because I don't get out in the sun much, or hey, I'm a little low in B12. I mean, many people are low in B12 because B12 is a microbiome thing. The microbiome is not synergized, then it's not able to create B12. And also we get B12 from natural foraging, not from meat. Meat's a bioaccumulation of B12, but the source of B12 is a microbiome thing, and it's also from soil, right? So dirty plants that are in clean soils, don't wash them. You know what I mean? So not eating dirt per se, but the small micro amounts. So the point is, I would have no idea what you're eating, what your day is like, what your stress level is like, what your environment's like, to really know what exactly you would need. But we have created at least the original formulas in a way that is updated and from a broad perspective good. And the vegan ones, Isabel and I just fought to go, listen, micronutrients are in all of the botanicals. Let's just leave it at that. And the reason why we can't put the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients on the bag is because it's food and they're fluctuating. The only reason the original formula has on, because those are the ones that we added into the formula. So you're getting the plethora of vitamins and minerals from the vegans as well as the original. But again, like health, you don't want to mess around. You want to take proactive steps to know what your body needs so that you don't wake up one day with, issues. And that's really what it's about, which goes back to drink the damn stuff every day, because this is no joke for us. This is something that, I'm just so lucky that Beachbody showed up in my life, because it's like my goal is so that people don't suffer. And so that one of the reasons I'm here is so that I can get nutrition and information out to people so that they live a better life without drudging the physical life, right?
Yeah.
Your body's not doing, yeah.
I'm super thankful, because I feel like it was part of God's plan for Beachbody to pull you out of the jungle, because our health is so much better because of your contribution. And I'm super thankful to you. As we finish, I need you to know, I don't know if you were at Summit when they announced the new flavor of pumpkin spice, but I mean to tell you, everybody went crazy. We're so excited about that. Was that your idea? Whose idea?
I mean, it's a full effort now.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where the timing of the fall, it just made sense for us, and it's an experiment. We'll see, hey, a limited flavor. Right. It might be something that we can play with as a seasonal thing, and I gotta say, it's delicious. So.
Yeah. Oh, we're so excited. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you.
So welcome. Absolutely.
All right. Take care.